Welcome back, everyone. Hope you all had a good lunch. Sort of piecing together the different options and grabbing the free coffees. I'm still kind of navigating where all the different free coffee is, so I'm making sure I try all of them out. I've got a little bit of time left. But welcome back to Startup City. I actually made a new friend during the lunch break. Someone looked at my name tag and thought it said Smart City. So she was excited that I'm working with smart cities. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that it was Startup City that we were doing. But we had some really good talks before lunch, and we're going to continue that now with several others. And we're going to end the program with a very interesting discussion on is there another AI winter coming? And that will be with Hina, who is working with venture capital in this space, in the AI space, based out in Silicon Valley. So stick around for that. That's going to be in about an hour from now. Very quick introduction again to myself in case you weren't here before lunch. My name is David Stevenson. I do mostly data strategy consulting, also teach part-time at the University of Amsterdam, do my own speaking route, and have written a couple books on the subject of AI and such. So that's a brief introduction to me, but what we're here for now is the 10-minute startup pitches, which have been really exciting in terms of being concise and to the point. And the first one now I want to introduce after lunch is Ilya Zelenkin, who is CEO and co-founder of BitScout AI. Welcome. Welcome, Ilya.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Ilya. And as you can hear by my voice, I'm very passionate about AI, that I lost it in the first day. So I will try to explain you about the problem that we are solving. And that's what I want to make this speech about. So first, the good news is that 50% of employees want to use AI. So there are lots of people who are non-technical. They understand that AI will help them. It's not the other way around. So they fear that they will lose their job. No, they want to use it to actually automate something and stop doing really stupid tasks. But the problem is that only 1% of companies can afford this. And I'm not talking about money in that sense. I am a CEO of a company, I'm a very technical person, but I'm using, and I can build any image or document extraction algorithm I want, but I'm using my solution to extract data from invoices because I don't have time to figure out myself. And in many cases, when we talk with the business users, with non-technical people, we talk about OCR or extracting tables or object recognition, but that's not what they want. They want a solution. And not many companies can afford themselves. And it means that what happens is many people today spend 30 days per year typing data into tools. So they read something, and then they type it into tool every day. For 30 days. So basically, if you are a business owner and you're not automating that, you are basically paid in 1 month of salary for people to type stuff from one thing to another. Okay, I want to finish my talk here if I can. But what happened is we built a platform that allows anybody create a plugin that is using AI on the back end. So they don't type data from invoices, from business cards, from emails, from orders, from bill of ladings, from supply chain documentation. They can log in our platform and just create a plugin that does that in their tool. And last month, we saved 15,000 minutes. It's basically 1 month of work that didn't go to waste, and people did something important like talk to new clients, discuss new businesses and new services instead of typing stuff. And if you want to see how it works, we had C22. The platform is live. I will show it to you myself if I will find my voice finally. That's it. Thank you. Questions? Or?
Yeah, so now we're going to open it up to questions. And the mic is coming, Christian.
Hey, Steven, by the way. So my question is, OCR makes sense if your documents are very structured, but now I have like everyone who's starting a startup right now probably has 12 to 20 different cloud tools with different invoice formats, and you have to log in anyways. Like, how do you support all of these different types of formats of documents? Or can I just give you my interface of the fields that I want and you find them in the document? Or do I need to do a lot of setup work?
It depends on the use case. So there are documents that are well known in the world. Invoices, such documents. You go to China, you go to Portugal, you go to US, invoice will look the same. So these documents, we have a general model. And the model that we did not build, we are using external providers for that because they are much better in that. What we do is we take this model and deliver to a user in Asana, in Jira, in Google Sheets. So they can set it up in a couple of clicks. For that documents, the set of fields is fixed. Of course, we can create a kind of a workaround that, but that's it. There are structured documents that are not well known. We have a customer in Norway that installs charging stations. Every day they generate reports. An engineer writes like what was the location, etc. For that, we know the structure. So you load one example, we see the structure, and we can extract it. But if you change the format of the report, we will have to create another one because we need an example. And the third thing is, you're right, there are many people who do invoices and they can extract data. What happens is, with our platform, is that once they extract the data from invoice, they can create a plugin themselves that classifies the line item. Is it a taxi cost, or is it a hotel cost, or is it a telco cost? And then, if a line item contains a date, they can also create a third plugin that extracts the dates. All that without talking to IT or any technical people. So there is no like 100% solution for your case, but there are ways around that because our platform is part of a process. You set up a plugin and you put it into Asana or Monday or Zapier or Make or Google Sheets. We are never outside of something. So anything new can be still worked around. I don't know. Come to our booth, I will show you. No?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for doing this despite the. Usually I'll ask a couple questions, but I want to save you your voice a little bit
No,
for the
feel free.
for the
We still have a couple of minutes. So.
Yeah, sure. So when you're looking at the different technology stacks that you're working with, do you find that some of the customers need a lot of sort of customized work to get it integrated? Yes. Do you have services to do that, people you partner with? Or is it really just here, you're just delivering the end product and they're responsible for integration completely?
So our product is no code. It means the customer sits in Asana and then they are tired of typing stuff from reports. Mm-hmm. They go to Asana Marketplace and they write, extract data from a PDF, and they find me. They click on the button, create an account, and then create a plugin that extracts data from the PDF. So we try to make it so that you don't need integrations or any custom work. We have a managing director of a company setting up stuff for himself to extract data from orders, from emails. And I didn't mention, but because we allow lots of people use AI, UNESCO has included us into top 100 AI projects. Because the problem that we solve is that a cafe or a barber shop cannot build OCR, and they will never ever do that. What they have is a Monday.com project where they track all the people who come in, and then now they need an invoice data. And what they do today is they type in the evening, and we remove that. Now they can do a couple of clicks, and it works.
Nice.
And that's the mission, what we do.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, Ilya.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Naeem Kamilipour, who's the founder and CTO of Ava.
Ava, yes.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you very much. So, my name is Naeem, and we are called Ava. With us, you can hear what you want, hear what matters. Does it work? Stop. OK. So we provide superhuman capabilities. This might sound like science fiction, but please hear me out. So we enable people with hard of hearing to hear what they want in noisy environment just by focusing on the sound they want. We allow paralyzed people who still have control over their eyes to steer their wheelchairs or interact with their environment using their eyes and subtle commands. When we enable everyday users to interact with their wearables, whether it's AR glasses, headphones, and so on, again, as easy as blinking. So what if I tell you the solution to all of this problem lies at the same technology? So that's what we do at Alva. We decode brain and biosignals from around and inside the ear to understand where people are facing, where they're looking, or what sounds they're paying attention to. And then we use a supplementary AI technology to separate that sound source, enhance it, and suppress the rest. This is just one application. And this technology can be implemented in any head-worn devices, earbuds, or hearing aids, around the ear, headphones, AR glasses, and VR headset. So although our secret sauce lies in our AI algorithms to interpret brain and biosignals, to showcase the capabilities of our technologies, we had to build the device. So we took this end-to-end solution. So in order to monitor the brain and biosignals, we built our own conductive polymers by mixing materials is practice and alchemy. And then we build our own miniaturized hardware, which is housed in our again, ergonomic design. At this point, we get the signal, using our computational light AI models, we decode the attention, and we use that for several different commands. For example, to separate sound sources, to steer wheelchairs, and so on. So I will walk you through each point a little more into details. So in order to understand how we decode the eye movement from brain and biosignals, consider the physiology of human eye. Human eye can be considered as a battery with positive charges at the front, at the cornea, and negative charges at retina. So practically, when you move your eyes, it creates an electric field that propagates through your face. And we detect that. It's easier if you record that from around the eyes, but our secret sauce is to detect that from around and inside the ear. So practically, when you move your eyes to the left, the signals on the left side should be positively deflected, and on the left side, negatively deflected, in theory. But we train our AI models to detect that, and the reverse for when you move your eyes to the right. So we just got a 1.5 plus $500,000 from Canadian government just to build our sensors, and this is how we build our sensors. So we mix polymer, again, with some nanomaterials, called carbon nanotubes, through casting and molding, but practically 3D prints the shape of the sensors, and we are able to build sensors of different conductive and physical properties. This is our first hardware. It's a monster, but we miniaturized that to the 1/10 of the original size. It has many sensors, brain and biosignals, accelerometer, gyroscopes, microphones, sound card, speaker, and so on. And it's designed for AI computation. So everything runs on this little hardware now. And then we work on the design as well. In order to have the best design, we are testing so many people every day in our offices for two purposes. In order to understand whether our designs are comfortable, and also for the sensor configuration to increase the signal-to-noise ratio. And this is our secret sauce. Practically what we do, we build, for those of you who are machine learning engineers, all of our models have less than 10,000 parameters, so very light. What we do, we have brain and biosignals. We have inertial measurement units for some of our applications, sounds as an input. The output is attention, so where people are facing, looking, or listening, whether they are blinking or they are moving their facial muscles, as well as classifying their scenes, whether they're in restaurant or they're in their car, and eventually sound source separation. And everything needs to be run on this little hardware. So imagine you wearing our device in a cocktail party, enjoying a conversation with your friends, but the noise is bothering you. Wearing our device, So we first decode your attention. We classify, of course, that you are in a cocktail party, separate the sound source, and then you can just focus on the sounds you want to listen to. So this is a demo of our technology, me wearing a device. There are two speakers talking at the same time, one male, one female. Just by looking at the desired speaker, I can enhance one and suppress the other.
Find online
Expect to
using
spend a few
standard tuning.
$100s on a decent
Standard
beginner's
tuning from
violin.
the top string to bottom
Buy a
string is
king-size
E,
violin
A,
if you are an
D,
adult.
G,
The
B,
violin
E.
is a small instrument, but
Hold
there
the
are
guitar in a
specially
sitting
designed smaller
position with the
sizes
guitar on
available.
your non-dominant leg.
When holding the
making
violin
sure
in the
that
playing
guitar is
position,
so close
straighten
against
your
the
left
floor.
arm and the tops of your
Okay, in this one of our interns, she's playing the game, the arcade game of Pong, just using Blink. So she even navigate the menu using the Blink, as you can see. By the way, we have a booth in the white room, and you can come and try this in action. Okay, so since the ear is the gateway to the body, we can actually monitor heart rate as well as sleep using our sensors. And also you can have other applications such as redirecting attention, and also eventually we are going to detect emotion of the users in order to provide better experience for virtual reality. So many companies already reached out to us, Meta, Samsung, Bose, and we are doing a project with NASA, and we have achieved, we are around 3 years old, and we have achieved both in technology and our business. We have lots of milestones that met, and these are my team that does the great work, and if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer. Thank you.
Great. Hey, thanks, Naeem. Really super interesting.
My pleasure.
Let me go ahead and open it up for questions from the floor, and then George is coming up with the mic.
Thanks. It's super interesting. So there's also speakers in the earbuds?
There are speakers, but the prototype that I brought here, you have just brain sensors.
Because probably the speakers will also generate a magnetic field. That's probably
Exactly.
more powerful than what's generated by the eyes. So are you then looking to simulate, based on the waveform, what the magnetic field would be that the speaker produces and then subtract it?
You can actually, there are different techniques. You can actually use Faraday cage to actually, isolate them. You can also, since you know the spectro-temporal properties of that magnetic field, you can filter it out. That's not a problem, because we already have other sensors that generate electromagnetic interference.
Super cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, very interesting. I'm curious about the power consumption. Can it last for, like, if you're constantly using, how long can you run it for with the current setup, and how good can it get?
That's a great question. So as I mentioned, all of our attempts is to build computational light models. That's why we have a criteria. We have to build models under certain parameters, or we build larger models. We use knowledge distillations to actually reduce the number of parameters. For the current setup, since we also have a sleep mode, if you are in a silent room, all of the sensors will be turned off. But ours, one of our headphones now can run for 6 hours, so which is, now there are hearing aids that can run for 12 hours, but we'll get there eventually. Thank you.
So what's the market that you're addressing? Is it though the hearing aids market, or what are you targeting with your
So
product?
our beachhead market is a hearing aids and hearable market, but we just recently received lots of interest. So Meta reached out to us, Samsung reached out to us, and they're all interested in our technology for their AR glasses, because the eye tracking they're using in their AR doesn't work very well, because it uses infrared cameras, and it cannot work in excessive light or with the small eyes. So we are making all of these reference designs, and we are working with these companies to see which ones are going to incorporate it first, whether they're hearables or the AR, VR market.
Thanks for the super interesting talk.
Thank you.
What is exactly the accuracy of those sensors for tracking your eye movement? Because
it's not extremely accurate. For now, we are just focusing on left, right, center, but we are attacking this problem from different angles. So we are building better sensors, making a nicer design. We are making algorithms that are denoiser. So we are every day our models are improving, and we are testing more subjects. For now, the accuracy is around 70%. But for blink is, for example, much stronger. And for head tracking without IMU, just using these brain sensors is also very accurate. Thank you.
Great, thanks very much, Naeem.
My pleasure.
And I think you have a booth in the white room, right?
Yeah, in the white room we have a booth.
Okay, great. I saw you guys earlier.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Okay, I'd like to welcome now Anna Weichel, who's the CTO of Modulus AI. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, hi everyone. I'm here to talk to you about data-centric AI and the Modulus platform. So Modulus is a startup which was founded in 2018 by 2 ETH professors, and we're developing a platform which is meant to make machine learning very easy and accessible, and aims at allowing everyone to build trustworthy AI solutions. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the statistics which show that 60 to 80% of all data science projects fail and never actually make it into production. And one of the main causes for this is poor data quality. Now, data-centric AI can help you address this issue. So let's talk about it. So in a very traditional way, we often, first focused on cleaning our data set and then moved on to model training. And we try to improve the performance of our model by tuning its hyperparameters, maybe changing its architecture, or even changing the model type. But the data itself often remained fixed. Now, the issue with this rather linear approach is that you don't really know when you have reached a state where your data is good enough, right? You could invest hours and hours into cleaning your data set, trying to create the perfect data set, when really you could have stopped earlier. Now, in the data-centric AI approach, we consider the data and the model as a unit. So data cleaning and model training go hand in hand. You improve the performance of your model by improving the quality of the underlying data. And thereby, you're able to avoid this lengthy, isolated data preparation process. And you can reduce your time to market. Now, if you're not aiming to clean your entire training data set, where do you even start? Your data set could be huge. Maybe you have outliers, missing labels, missing feature values, and so on. Where do you even begin? And also on the model side, how do you know that you've actually found the best model for the current state of your data set? How do you avoid biases in the model selection? And how do you make sure the entire process is reproducible? This is why the Modulus platform has 2 main components. So there's the automated machine learning part, AutoML, and there's a data quality management feature, which we call DQM. So AutoML allows you to easily try out and train various state-of-the-art machine learning solutions. Very straightforward. You just upload your data set, you configure the problem you want to solve, and then the platform automatically trains various solutions for you. And you can use AutoML in isolation, or you can actually combine it with a data quality management feature. Now, DQM provides recommendations which allow you to clean your data set efficiently. So that tells you where you should be starting and what aspects of your data set you should be looking at. The 7 steps that you would go through to clean both your data and improve your model performance are the following. So you upload your data sets, of course. Your training data set does not need to be perfect, but your validation data set should be pretty clean. And then you use the AutoML part of the platform to train various machine learning solutions. Like I said before, that's a very easy and straightforward process, and you just have to pick the solution that you want to use. Now, if you're happy with the performance of your solution, you can, your journey can end here. You can download the solution and you can deploy it into production. Or you can choose to improve the performance of your model by using the data quality management feature, so by using DQM. And what you have to do first is think about which aspect of your model you want to improve, right? Do you want a higher accuracy, or do you want a fairer machine learning model? And the platform will then automatically determine which samples in your training data set negatively impact your model performance. So that is then turned into actionable recommendations that you can use to clean your training data set. Once you've cleaned your training data, you can re-upload it to the platform, and you're now able to retrain your machine learning model. And you can really see that steps 4, 5, and 6, right? This is where the data cleaning and the model training go hand in hand. This is really the core of the data-centric AI approach. And once you reach the state where you're happy with the performance of your solution, you can download it. It's fully standalone. You get all the code you need to generate predictions. It's Dockerized. It has a REST API, so it's very easy to deploy into production. Yeah, so these are the 7 steps that you would go through. So let's look at a very simple, but I think very impactful example. Many of you will be familiar with the MNIST dataset. So MNIST contains images of handwritten digits, and we want to identify the handwritten digits. What we did here is we used 10,000 images for training, and we artificially polluted 1% of the labels. For validation, we also used 10,000 images, and here all the labels are correct. So the question here is, can we detect the wrongly labeled training data? So if you do a random draw and you randomly draw 25 samples from your training data, it's very unlikely that you're going to end up with any samples that have been labeled incorrectly. We only polluted 1%, right? But if you use our targeted cleaning approach, you can see that almost all of the images that we get recommended actually have wrong labels. So for example, the first image shows a 5, but it has been labeled as a 4. Second image shows a 4, which has been labeled as a 6, and so on. So DQM is far more efficient at helping you find these wrongly labeled training data than just using a random cleaning approach. But of course, you can use DQM not only for images, you can also use it, for example, for tabular data or for text. And it can not only help you find wrongly labeled samples, but also outliers, wrong feature values, and in general, just help you debias your data. So more generally speaking, DQM helps you to identify flaws and bugs in your training data, and it makes your cleaning process fast, cost-efficient, and objective-oriented. It gives you traceability and accountability, and it not only allows you to train more accurate models, but also fairer models, which is a very important aspect inside of the upcoming regulation by the European Union, as you might have heard this morning. So the key points here are that data-centric AI considers model performance as a reflection of the underlying data quality, and it values data quality over data quantity. And it implies that we should be treating the data and the model as a unit. The Modulus platform is built on this data-centric AI approach, and it allows you to build not only more accurate, but also fairer machine learning models. By making the data cleaning and model training process very efficient, you're reducing your time to market. And by focusing on the good parts of your data, you can actually reduce your data acquisition costs. By anticipating future regulatory changes, you're getting one step closer to compliance. So this is the Modulus platform. If you want to know more, please get in touch. Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Anna. Thanks very much. Let me go ahead and open it up to questions you may have. And while you're thinking of this, I know the data-centric approach to AI, of course, is very big now in the literature these days, so that's very relevant to have.
I think we've always kind of known that data is important, but nobody actually gave it a name, so now it's like catching on more.
Yeah, it's funny because 2 years ago was sort of the big MLOps push, and everyone's talking about MLOps, and then last year was the big data quality push, and so you guys have sort of gotten this, but good.
Yeah.
I think we have a question in the back. I saw a hand anyways. I'm not sure. Oh.
Hey.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. So I'm just trying to understand a little bit. I train models all day long and look at them. Yeah. So for me, it's very easy to just, or like this example that you showed, that I can very easily look where the model doesn't perform well, look at these examples, what you have from the data set.
Yeah.
So what is it that your software puts on top that is very hard for me to replicate?
Well, first of all, you're maybe not the target user if you're training models all day and you know them inside out and you know all the details of your data, right? But if you're someone who has less machine learning experience and you really just want a quick model, you quickly want to try something out, and you don't want to worry about installing TensorFlow, then these recommendations can really help you improve the performance of your model. So what we're putting on top is algorithms which, for example, allow you to approximate the leave one out loss or find outliers with an isolation forest, that kind of thing. And we present it in a very didactic way that really helps you to, clean your data.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for your talk. I had an idea that like Amazon and Google and Microsoft also offer these kinds of services. So I was interested whether what makes this work over their services.
Right. So, I mean, one big advantage is that the platform itself, it's a traditional software product. It's not a SaaS solution. So as a customer, you're actually getting the code and you can install it wherever you want. So you don't need to upload your data to the public cloud, for example, like you would have to do if you're using GCP or AWS or something like that, right? So on the security side, it's better, I think. And then also on the solution side, you're actually getting the fully trained machine learning model and it's fully yours. You don't need to send any request to, SageMaker or, Google AutoML or whatever service you want to use. You get the full code, it's fully transparent, and it's yours, even if your license expires for the Modulus platform.
Okay, I think that's about all the time we have.
Cool.
Great, thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Alexander Lavallee, who's CEO of Celas Studio. I think one of these is Alexander. There we go.
No one. Actually, Alexander, our CEO, is in Bogota for the DEF CON summit.
Lucky
so
him.
we split the team to spread the word.
Okay.
So, hi everybody.
You might want this.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Hi everybody. It's a true pleasure to be here for our first time to present our company, Celas, in the Netherlands and Amsterdam as well. So today we're going to present you our story, the product we have built, and the choices we have made, and maybe a bit more about our company around the topic text-to-image driven by AI.
So our mission as a company is to become the world leader in content creation powered by AI. So ideally, we could do any type of assets, so images, videos, 3Ds, also metaverses, virtual worlds, so on. But we're limited in time and resources, so we first focus on images and the creation of exclusive visuals and personalized graphic universe, allowing any professional to basically expand their creative strengths. And just a note, all the images you'll see in the deck, so the one in the slide before and the one in the slide even after, were created with our own tools and AI models.
Yeah, so very quickly, we choose to select only the members of our team that were present in the World AI Summit. But the main thing about our team is maybe we are kind of a mix between research, PhD, and creative industry, and major IT companies such as Microsoft or Google. Yeah. The main thing about our main partners is we have built our startup in France, so actually we are mainly supported by research or public organization that support startups and are specialized in AI, all those partners.
And maybe now, what is the problem we're trying to tackle? So I think that everyone knows we are living in a society of images, where images are like a vector of communication and influence by excellence. Just a few facts. Just today, 500 million accounts on Instagram will publish a story. A lot of them will be corporate accounts trying to advertise for the services and product. So there is a huge need for unique visuals that are personalized to their graphic and brand universe. But getting these unique visuals is quite expensive and time-consuming. You can either go the stock image way and pay a few box, basically, for really bland images that doesn't basically represent your brand, or go the other way and hire a graphic designer that will be slightly more expensive, a lot more expensive, and also take you way more time to get to find a finished product that you can use in your campaigns. And then also there is quite a few innovation right now in the gen art space, but all the innovation that you get access to are only accessible to super technical profiles that have the skills to translate this GitHub repo into something that can actually be used by a developer and integrated into basically your product and your solution. So the problem we are tackling, just to make it short, there are three. The first one would be industrialization of MLOps models in this space. And then for creatives, giving them access to unique images for brainstorming purposes, but also for for their productivity. So what is our solution now?
Yeah, so maybe that can explain the choice we made. I've choose like to provide our solution through an API. The main API allows you to generate images, but the latest researches or the new features are very helpful for creative professionals because so far, if you are giving just the engine to a creative professional, it's going to say like, yeah, it's wonderful, I can create beautiful images, but on my daily basis jobs, it's not efficient for this reason or this reason. So yeah, allowing them like to select all the bricks, like upscaling, fixing a picture, outpainting, extending a picture, making a bridge between two different images. It allows us like to provide, I would say, like half customized solution for a creative professional, because like, for instance, a graphic designer that is working and selling sport items is not the same job at all than a designer for fragrance, for instance, or whatever. So yeah, we are providing like maybe three values, like it's helping to prompt with ease, because like the main difficulty is like how to talk to a machine. The other one is like to generate unique visual in a closed universe. And the last one will be like you can upscale your images until like 8K or 12K or whatever, so quality images.
And maybe now a few examples. So we really have a plug-and-play approach where anyone can grab our API and SDK and build their own solutions. So this is the demo we've built and that we're starting to commercialize in white label for some of our clients. And maybe something that will be more talkative is a small video demonstrating the creative process. So you would log into our platform, enter your email and so on, try to start a new project, and then enter your prompt so that the main topic of the creative campaign that you'll start. Here, it's an orange desert with a blue sky. Then you can choose your color, everything that fits your brand guidelines, basically. And then the style, so either photo, illustration, 3D asset, and so on. And then even further refine what you want to create. So that would be digital art in the style of 80s. Then a few other stuff, so the format, depending on where you want to publish the assets, the number of steps, which is basically the sharpness of the image, and then how many images you want to create as one batch. And then, so something we're quite proud of, like to generate an image using our solution, it's 1 second, which is basically 4 times faster than anyone in this game, on this market. And basically, you will end with all your images. You select the one you're interested in, and then you can either use them directly as part of a mood board that you would generate, or build on top of them to keep refining what you want and getting to what you want to create, and share them on any collaboration tools.
So I'll try to be very quick because only 18 seconds. So yeah, we discover with our prospect and clients that they need like to be more specific in creation. So we provide 2 options. The first one is like preset. We can give like hidden text that is going to put boundaries around a specific universe about picture creation. And maybe the other one, which is like even more in-depth, is called like fine-tuning. So yeah, you can give to the machine an amount of images around a specific universe for a person, for an item, or whatever, a brand. And it's gonna allows you to generate a huge amount of images closed inside this specific universe. For instance, like Patrick Star, which is like a famous drag queen on YouTube. So we can generate all these types, change the art style, or even like change items inside the picture, so or the color of the lipstick, earrings, or whatever you want.
And last but not least, we're also trying to give back the control to the person using our algorithm, because something you realize using this GenArt tool is it's quite hard to have a control over what you're creating. So on top of generation, we're also adding editing capabilities and upscaling capabilities, allowing you to really control the type of assets you're going to create.
So maybe a last word. Yeah, so far we're able to provide images generation like 4 times than any other competitors. So we want to keep that advance. So we have started like a roadshow to raise funds in Series A. So if there is like one VC, do not hesitate to talk with us after. It will be a pleasure. Thank you.
Great, thanks very much, gentlemen. Aren't you glad you're in Amsterdam and not in Bogota?
No,
just a joke. Just a joke. They're colleagues in Bogota, that's why. Questions?
Super cool project. When I saw Stable Diffusion, I was thinking about this application as well, and I think it's super interesting, like opportunity to disrupt like Getty Images and like iStock Photo and whatnot. So I think it's super interesting. How do you see yourself developing in that space? So there's like the traditional stock image market where a graphic designer might go and get an image off a street, or like person with laptop in office building, right? The typical settings. And then there are markets like Fiverr or something where you can hire a freelance graphic designer. So how do you see yourself in that space? How is that all gonna develop, disrupt, develop? Where's the market in 5 years from now?
Very hard question, because if we are taking like the past 5 years, like the technology has improved by like 300,000. So trying to know in 5 years what is going to be the market, like we don't know. We made a choice, like which is like provide customized solution through our API to have like a better observation about the whole workflow about one specific creative professional worker, and maybe it will allow us to build a SaaS, maybe, or we will still to be like tech provider and allows other startups to build like to solve every problem they want with this kind of solution. We don't know. That's why like we are still exploring. But the main thing is like we have been able to build this kind of engine in 1 month. We are 4 times faster than others. We need more GPUs, 800 from NVIDIA, for instance, and that's going to be a run.
Yes, and maybe also something on our positioning. We're really seeing ourselves as tool provider for artists and for graphists and illustrators. So basically, anyone that you could hire on Fiverr could be using our tool and could also be our client. So that's really where we're seeing ourselves in between, basically stock images provider, and professional that could use our tools to basically be able to produce assets.
And so far, the market is new, so like providers are just providing the engine. You can generate images, but without control, without specific universe. So I think fine-tuning or preset is like a huge stake. And we are alone so far to try to build a pipe between like research and development companies or like huge monster as Imagen from Google or OpenAI from Microsoft or whatever. And they don't have like the pipe to connect to very specific industries because they just want to sell cloud, basically.
Great. Hey, thanks so much. It's a very interesting topic. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of people stop by your booth and at least try it out.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Great. Next, I'd like to introduce Antoine. I'm going to say it Lefebvre, co-founder and CEO of CareMap. Welcome, Antoine.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And it's a great pleasure to be here and to present our activity. So we are CareMap. And I'm going to start that talk with not so much a good news. As you may know, we are living in a state of climate emergency. We got forest fire, we got water crisis. We just finished a big drought in Europe, and what we can say is our natural resources are getting low. And today, what we can do is we can track all this kind of change. But tomorrow, all of this will have to be justified. We will have to say why I use this land, what will be the impact on my activity on it, and how I will be able to recover it. And what we can see recently is like some major accounts like PepsiCo, Nestle, and McCain, they are transforming their supply chain in a more sustainable way. And there's so a huge need to monitor and to assess the supply chain for this kind of new model. And that's why there is a really huge market for Earth observation and also satellite imageries. But satellite imageries is very valuable data, but the thing is, data are still very hard to process, to just reach, and to analyze. So most of the corporates who try to internalize this kind of skills, they spend a lot of time on it. The development of a processing change is taking a lot of time, and finally that's expensive, and is a bit frustrated because their result sometimes is kind of low. That's why we develop Nimbo. Nimbo is a promise that Earth observation reinvented. We develop a technology that is global, who provide continuous and objective data through the world. The technology relies on two big steps. The first one is we have an engine who will process all the satellite images available and will take all the recurrent tasks like remove clouds, removing all the artifacts we can have in satellite images, and provide some insight directly to the customer. And the second part is about how we will deliver the information. We have our own API who can directly display all our results through our web platform, but also the API can be connected to your own software, and also it can provide some report. For example, you can ask Nimbo how much sunflowers is growing in Ukraine this year, and Nimbo will gonna tell you, okay, this amount of sunflowers was growing this year in Ukraine. So this is the offer. We have an ergonomic platform who deliver some mosaic, is a base map of satellite images at a continental scale. At the moment, we have Europe, Middle East, and also North America. And you don't have any problems to navigate through these satellite images. You have no clouds, you have no problem with the orbits of the satellite. It's like you are using Google Maps to process your own data. And as you can see, you have many functionalities. You can compare one date to another one. Here you can see like forest fire, and here you can monitor like the drought in Iraqi, and you can see that this water lake is getting very low in the time. So this you can do that in a click with Nimbo. Based on all this processing, we also extract some insights. These insights are in focus in agriculture, and here you go to showcase. You can directly reach this demo showcase on agri.nimbo.earth, and we are monitoring like all the crops in Europe. We know exactly what is growing up right now in every field in Europe, and this information is very valuable for many different kind of customers. I'm going to talk about it just after, and we also have other assets like we have some estimation of biomass and crop rotation and so on. And it's kind of near real time because we process thousands of satellite images every month, and we update our data set like every month as well. So how the business model works? Actually, we got different plans. The Nimbo product works on a freemium model, so anybody can get connected to the platform, create an account for free, and enjoy all the functionalities of the Nimbo platform. This provides us some leadership. And after, we got two different kind of plans, like online subscription. You connect on the website, you consume all your credit, and then we ask you to subscribe for a pay plan. And also, we have custom project directly with some corporates. And here is the use cases. Today, Nimbo exists since nearly 2 years now, and we have one use case with the Ministry of Agriculture. We are monitoring the production of the grassland, And as you may know, we had a big drought this summer, and we can directly see the impact of the grassland production with the Nimbo product. And we also work with some big corporations like Nestle and McCain. They are involving their suppliers to have a sustainable model to produce their raw materials like wheat or corn. And actually, we can monitor if these suppliers respect their engagement to Nestle and McCain. And also, we can see if the program of this corporate is really efficient, if you can see some change, some better change for the environment on every field of these suppliers. And also we have this Nimbo platform where we can subscribe for free, and we have over 900 individual users now. So just to sum up, so we provide with Nimbo some turnkey satellite data. It's a SaaS platform, there's product on shelf, and it's also scalable. Nimbo gonna be global by 2023. And we just growing up. We are a company of 16 people, and we're hiring. So if you're interested, we can talk. And I just said Nimbo gonna be worldwide. The company is 5 years old. We are 16 people. We will be 20 in the next few months. And just to finish this talk, I would like just to show you an example how to use the Nimbo product. Here is an example of the drought that impacted us this summer. And as you can see, in one click, you can see difference that in August 2022, our land was totally yellow, dried, comparing to last year, it was totally green. And this is thousands of satellite images have been processed. You don't need any skills to do that right now because Nimbo is there for you. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Antoine. And if people want to come work with you, where is that office?
Our office, yes, we are a French company, and we are located in the west part of France, in a nice city named Rennes. And that's it.
That's where the coronations are, right?
Sorry?
That's where the coronations were in Rennes, the big cathedral? No, it's not. It's okay. Sorry. Any questions? See here.
If there's no questions, I may have a piece of free advice. I saw your business model slide, and there in the third column, I think it said enterprise solutions. It also said clients without skills. Maybe you want to look into a more delicate phrasing if you want to sell that.
The thing is, what we can see is the people who need such kind of information which is contained in satellite images, they don't have any skills. And the space domain, the spatial ecosystem is really far away from the people who need actually the data who is inside these images. And most of the people, they don't know how that they can get this information from here. So for us, we have to build a bridge between the space ecosystem to the agriculture ecosystem. So we have to find a way how to connect them together.
Maybe then non-technical clients.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. I think we had one more question over here.
Yes, I was just wondering also, who are your paying clients? So I understood with Nestle and McCain, and that seems more like a controlling function. But if you look at agriculture, there's an awful lot of drone startups out there offering services to agriculture. So who do you see are your paying clients going forward, and what problem are you solving for them?
Our strength is to process a massive volume of data, and we're able to extract some homogeneous information at country level. Because our clients actually, they want to compare what the production in France of the wheat comparing to the one of Germany, for example. And if they have to do this with the data available, they have to wait some official information, and this official information is declarative information. And this information, well, okay, these two countries are European Union, and they are kind of reliable. But if you are looking at a more continental scale, you cannot compare the production in France with, let's say, with US or Brazil. The information is totally different. So it's not homogeneous, so you cannot compare it. together. So what we do is we have one tool based on the same kind of data with the same model to produce homogeneous information, and you can have reliable information to compare many countries together.
But you've now just explained to me the what. My question is more the who. Who are your paying customers? Who do you expect them to be, and what problem are you solving?
Okay, so we have paying customers like the Ministry of Agriculture in France. So we are providing them a monitoring of the grassland. So that's governments. We have big corporates who are engaged in some sustainable model to monitor their suppliers, and also we have some the people who make trades on raw materials. Because another force of our products is we can provide some estimation early in the year, and you don't need to wait like official statistics. So we can like in March or April we can already know how much wheat going to be produced in France or in another country. And this is very valuable information because this can fix like the price of the materials in the current year.
Thank you.
I think we're out of time. I'm going to have to ask you guys if you could maybe take the questions afterwards. And first I want to thank you, Antoine.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Satellite data never ceases to amaze me.
Thank you very much. Okay.
I'll take that from you. Yeah, thank you. No worries. I'd like to invite our next speaker up, Vaikunth Mugundan, who's CEO and co-founder of Dynaflow. Welcome.
Can I get Hello all, I'm Vaik. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DynamoFL. So today I'm going to be talking about our personalized federated learning solution and how we help organizations improve their machine learning models in a privacy-preserving way. So a bit about myself, I got my PhD at MIT in the same space, and we're backed by some of the top Silicon Valley VCs. So what are the key characteristics for the next generation of AI and machine learning these days? So the first thing is to make sure that user privacy is always preserved. So for example here, we are looking at a computer vision task which detects pedestrians crossing the street. So the most important thing here is that to make sure that your machine learning model learns to identify, say, who's crossing the street or whatever, but at the same time, it should be compliant with privacy regulations like GDPR, CCPA, etc. So while preserving privacy, you still want to make sure that your neural network actually achieves the state-of-the-art performance. And the final thing is to make sure that it becomes really hard. For example, if you have to transfer all the data to a central server, say, for example, you're collecting data from different hospitals or different autonomous vehicles, etc., and if you're collecting everything at a central server and training models there, data cost can cross nearly $100 million, which is what we saw with the few Fortune 500 companies we work with. So at DynamoFL, we ensure that we preserve privacy, we improve the performance of machine learning models, and we massively reduce the data transfer cost because we use a technology called federated learning. So what is our solution to the next generation AI? So our goal is to make sure that you can train personalized, highly efficient machine learning models without having to collect sensitive personal user data. So long story short, how federated learning technology works is basically, say you have different devices. Each device trains its own machine learning model. And then you push this model to a central server. And the server now aggregates these models, and this process repeats. So basically, what is happening is that without having to transfer data to a central server, you're just transferring machine learning models, which are much smaller in size, and still improving the performance of these models. So the private data never has to leave its source. Common applications are in the medical space, where you have medical imaging data across hospitals, or electronic health records, etc. And similarly, a lot of finance companies we work with, they work on fraud detection models or anti-money laundering models, credit card transactions. So in all these cases, you cannot transfer sensitive user data, and henceforth, federated learning has to be used. In addition, we have a lot of regulations across the globe, like GDPR, CCPA, etc. So pretty much organizations, big companies, spend up to $10 million every year to ensure that they're compliant with these regulations. And what we've shown is that by adopting our software, they actually don't have to spend that much money to train high-quality machine learning models. So a particular customer case study I'd like to talk with is we are working with a big Fortune 500 automotive supplier. And the task here is to make sure they identify pedestrians and like objects that are like captured using the self-driving vehicles cameras, right? So the value add which we bring here is that like we pretty much save them nearly like $100 million just because they are not transferring data from each of their vehicles and centrally aggregating these data at a central server. In addition, we've also showed that like the machine learning model performance has drastically increased when they adopt our solution while still being compliant with GDPR and CCPA. So the major cost savings which we showed them was that when they had to collect all the data and store it in a central S3 bucket, they were going to spend nearly like $100 million every year, right? So while when they adopted our solution, it literally became tens of thousands of dollars. So there was a massive reduce in the cost when they started adopting our solution. And not only that, we also showed that, like, say, for example, the first two approaches show the state-of-the-art personalized machine learning techniques for computer vision tasks. And using our solution, they were able to increase it by more than 10% for computer vision tasks. And we're actually presenting this at the European Conference of Computer Vision in 2 weeks, where we show how our personalized federated learning solution actually beats centrally trained models as well. So not only are we privacy compliant, but also the performance of our machine learning algorithms are way ahead of like state-of-the-art techniques. So the underlying technology behind personalized federated learning is basically, you can imagine, you have different users, right? So say different people text in a different way. So what you want to do here is, say we want to train a model that predicts the next word, which is what we see in our iPhones and like Google phones, et cetera, today, right? So the goal here is to make sure each end user has a personalized model, but they also have to make sure that they're learning from other users so that the performance is enhanced on a continuous basis. So this is what happens using personalized federated learning is basically you're seeing like each user ends up with a different neural network, but everyone is learning from others in order to fine-tune their neural network. So we've applied this across multiple different use cases. The computer vision use case was one of the examples, but we've also applied this for ASR models, where we trained across diverse user populations with different from different countries. So they had like different accents. The way they were talking was different. And we applied this across quantitative finance companies, where we were able to show that this technique was able to boost Sharpe ratios for higher returns. And for anti-money laundering, where we showed that like not only the accuracy increases, but also like precision and recall increases. And all of these are like state-of-the-art results. So the last thing which I would like to highlight is specifically when we are running on edge devices or like resource-constrained devices, not only are we getting highly performant models, but what we were also able to show was that we were able to reduce the size of these models drastically. So say you start with a 45 megabyte model. In our case, like when we used DynamoFL's like compression and quantization algorithms, we were literally able to get it down by like 10x, and we were able to like deploy this on like edge hardware solutions. So in DynamoFL, we basically provide an end-to-end system for personalized federated learning technologies. So everything from the algorithms to the UIs to the SDK is wrapped up and given to clients, which could be easily integrated in a matter of a couple of minutes with their existing data or like machine learning pipelines. Thank you. If you have any questions, happy to take.
Great. Thanks very much. Okay. So you're flying back and forth sort of here?
Yeah.
Okay. Question in the front. Oh, actually, sorry. There's quite a few questions.
Thank you. Very interesting. I think I saw 10,000 cost reduction. Mm-hmm. So I'd be curious about, I mean, I guess you could charge much more.
Yeah.
Like, can you tell us a little bit about that? Yeah, if the value is so high, why are there a lot of alternatives free level?
Oh, no. So that is not the value which we charge. Okay. We are saying that like it would take you like millions of dollars if you were not using our solution. And when they are using our solution, it only costs them $10,000 for the exchange of like say models and storing it on the S3 buckets. Okay. That's not our pricing model.
Okay, got
it. Yeah, we are definitely not that cheap.
Hey, super cool product. My question was like you had a use case for quantitative finance, and then there was another on the lower right side. I understand how this works very well for NLP applications, computer vision, because the data set you get more like variety in the data sets. In quantitative finance, I would say like where does the edge come from? Because I would guess almost everyone has almost the same data sets.
Yeah.
And if I have a data set with an edge, like I'm not going to give it to you, right?
Exactly. So that's a really good question, right? So for the quantitative finance use case, it's basically we use the same set of algorithms which we use, but you can imagine like obviously different banks are not going to collaborate on a quantitative finance task, right? So what we do is we have like clustering techniques which they initially use, these banks, to cluster like say different assets or different stocks. And we apply our personalized federated learning techniques on top of them. So basically for them, the privacy use case is not there because they are not even going to share data or like learn from others. But for them, it's the algorithm which we've developed that works across these clusters within a particular bank. And henceforth, their trading strategies or like Sharpe ratios increases. So that is what we sell to them.
Great. So in the interest of time, I think, Georgia, do we have time? I think we probably have to move on to the next one. One more? OK.
Yeah, super interesting. So you also had a bit about compressing the models. I can imagine a variety of things, right? Switching to half precision, quantization, node pruning, distillation. Just wondering, is there anything you do from a federated perspective there as well?
Yeah, so this quantization strategy, what we've showed is what we're going to present at ECCV is we've showed that like while doing federated learning, when you're doing like the way we train these neural networks, that is different. So that also contributes to reducing the size of these models. So basically, you're like pruning your neural network. And then on top of that is where we apply quantization. So if you're just applying quantization, there's a good chance your accuracy might take a backseat, right? Like directly. So what we are showing is we've showed that by pruning the neural networks, you're actually like fine-tuning the models and improving the model performance. And then we integrate our proprietary quantization software with that. And that is the main difference.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And, enjoy the rest of the time. Great. Good. Our last speaker, and I know you're a little tight for time, Kim, so I want to get you up here. Kim Vigilia, VP of Strategy for Humanizing Autonomy. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Here's your clicker.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kim Vigilia. And today I'd like to talk about machines. Well, machines and our relationship with machines as humans, as people. Yep, it's going to be one of those talks. I place a lot of emphasis on the word people because often when we talk about AI and technology and automation, we get so excited about the mechanics and the theory and the potential of the tech. But we don't actually spend enough time talking about how people will use and interact the beautiful technology that we develop. So why is this important? Our daily lives are now crammed with automation, but it doesn't mean these machines actually understand what we're doing, what our intent is, any of our actions. And without that human intent, there's a danger. Automation in machines can lead to accidents, injury, increased liability rates, most extreme cases, loss of human life. And humanizing autonomy is looking to change that dynamic. So we teach machines to understand people in order to create safer, more efficient, and more pleasant human-machine interactions. So we've developed an ethical computer vision software that understands and predicts human behavior so that we can quickly, safely, and accurately provide the context between the people and the machine. If it's a consumer device, a home appliance, a vehicle, a gaming equipment, so any other automated technology. And we think that by understanding a person's intent, we can then better inform the machine's decision-making process so that it responds with more relevant action. So we call this behavior AI, an AI system that directly interacts with humans or needs to understand human behavior for further decision making. So imagine a person standing at the edge of a pavement, okay? Looking at a billboard, Thor, Love and Thunder. So we know that as people, we're assuming that they are not planning on suddenly turning and crossing the street. They're engaged with something else, even though they're close to the curb. So if I were, well, I don't drive, I'm not a very good driver, but a human driver passing by would probably maintain their speed and keep going, okay? It's not a risk. There's no crossing risk. This seems like an obvious decision to us, but for machines that are not trained to consider human intent as part of their decision tree, it's not an obvious decision at all. So instead of being explicitly trained to pick up nuances and context within human behavior, most machines, as many of you know, they're either trained on a physics-based model based on position, velocity, acceleration, or they're an end-to-end systems model that may lack transparency. So if a machine trained on either of those approaches looks at that same person on the pavement, they might see this person as a crossing risk. They might alert the driver to slow down. So this is because purely physics systems won't have enough information to make accurate predictions, whilst the end-to-end model may not be robust enough or could lack a notion of uncertainty to make trustworthy predictions when encountering new situations that it was not trained on. So that's why we're so excited. We're excited about the opportunities that behavior-based artificial intelligence unlocks. Behavior AI is changing the way machines make decisions and how it responds to people, all by using a modular approach. So when we say modular approach, we mean that we build individual modules for features that we've prioritized, and then we combine them into smaller statistical models to make the final prediction. You can imagine this approach requires a high level of transparency, but also requires a lot of expert knowledge in psychology and cognitive science. That's why we combine novel deep learning, behavioral psychology, and statistical AI in developing our behavior AI software. Our models take into account traditional physics models, feeding these models with key human behaviors and information to help automated systems understand and respond to people. So this is a top-line look at what our architecture is laid out as. So the customer system provides a system input layer at the top. It's ultimately where the decision-making engine lives. And our layered humanizing autonomy software then determines the output, the high-level features. You could see that there's the predictive behavioral model for the high-level features. And it includes things like intention to cross, and low-level features such as object detection and tracking, before then moving it back to the customer system as a sensory input layer. This is to ensure that the technology is ethical, safe, and human-centric. Behavior AI must be transparent, understand cause and effect, and have a notion of its own prediction uncertainty. I also want to highlight that we actively work to remain ethical. And this means avoiding discriminating any individuals based on anything apart from their concrete physical behavior. So if you visited the stand, you'll have seen that we place it by joints, because your joints don't lie. And we're excited about the opportunities this shift in AI design can bring companies looking to improve their safety and reduce liability, cost savings and efficiency, enhanced human experience, and competitive edge in growing markets. So today we're working across automotive, logistics, telematics. We have projects in smart home and consumer, XR, and metaverse, as well as construction, factory, and infrastructure. So you can see some of the partners that we're working with, have worked with, and are about to start deployment on. So quick top level, actually these are some of the chipsets that we support as well, but we also have cloud based solutions. So as a quick closing summary, this is our case study for Nextbase. That's one of the products that we are deploying for Q1 2023. It's quite exciting. We will be deployed on their next generation of smart dash cams, and will be feeding into their forward collision warning and blind spot monitoring. Okay. There you go. We're humanizing autonomy. Get in touch. We're a London-based behavior AI company offering ethical computer vision software that better informs automated systems. We are designed to work anywhere that there's a camera, feed, or historical footage combined with people being the heart of it. Our system is easy to integrate, transparent, and ethical. So we're modular, we fit into existing tech stacks, and we can work with existing legacy infrastructure. And we work across several industries, across the UK, France, Japan, and the US. Our team, this is our team, over 50 of us now, and representing more than 15 countries all over the world. So we're remote and they're an incredibly talented bunch. So if you'd like more information, please do get in touch. My contact details are here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kim. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Do you have time for 1 or 2 questions?
Yes, as you can imagine, I am not the most technical person, but I will do my best.
Okay,
So
let's open it
being
up for
friendly.
questions then.
Yeah. All good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm hyper aware that this is the last session. Oh, there we go.
There's
Hey,
one more
hi.
after this, actually.
Oh, in this panel, I meant.
Yeah.
Hi. I just dropped into the presentation, so maybe I'm asking a question that you answered earlier. But regarding what you said, like you can sort of look at the joint structure and sort of like, hey, what's the position? How do you sort of reason? What kind of methods do you use to reason about sequences of positions?
Yeah. So I need to use my hands for this. So just as a quick overview, the way we work is that when we're a computer vision software, and so when we look at your joints, we look at the physical concrete behavior, i.e. where your weight is, if you're about to turn. So essentially we infer the behavior or the intent based on just that, as in, but we also look at environment, we look at several contexts. So we start with the physics-based layer, but we add behavior psychology on top. We add a few different methodologies on top, because when you're about to turn and walk to the right or the left, your joints will show that up to 2 or 3 seconds beforehand. Yeah, joints don't lie. That's what. Yeah, cool. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, Alice.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Kim. Really interesting. Okay. That concludes the lightning talk.